And the big question on the world's mind these days is the Chinese yuan going to overtake the dollar in the world economy, its role? And if so, when and how and with what consequences might this happen?
China's challenge to the US's grip on global money is heating up, and the Chinese yuan is taking center stage. The yuan gaining momentum as a global currency, China is looking to assert its economic power and push back against the US' long-standing dominance in international finance. It's a high-stakes battle that has implications for economies around the world, and China is not backing down. In this video, we'll take a closer look at China's strategy that forces driving the yuan's rise and the potential consequences of this power shift. So buckle up and get ready to explore the exciting and complex world of global currencies and the battle for economic supremacy. President Xi Jinping's government is on a mission to take the Chinese yuan to new heights, and over the past year, it has been making bold moves to expand its use on a global scale, with a series of game-changing agreements inked with countries ranging from Russia and Saudi Arabia to Brazil and France. China is redefining the rules of international finance and signaling its intent to challenge the US dollar's long-standing dominance. The currency has achieved a number of impressive milestones, including replacing the US dollar as the most commonly used currency in transactions between Hong Kong, Macau, and 9 Chinese cities in the Greater Bay Area. It has also become the most traded currency in Russia.
Now, in a boost for China, its currency surpassed the US dollar for the first time this week. It makes yuan the most traded foreign currency on Moscow Exchange,
following US sanctions against Moscow over its invasion of Ukraine. And in a bold move that challenges the long-standing dominance of the petrodollar, the yuan is now being used for some oil contract with Saudi Arabia and other countries. All these developments are shaking up the world of global finance, signaling China's growing economic power and its intent to challenge the US's financial hegemony. What are some of the factors that have contributed to the rise of the yuan? According to some sources, China's remarkable economic growth and resilience during the COVID-19 pandemic have played a major role. Despite the pandemic's global economic shockwaves, China managed to maintain a strong trade surplus and build up its foreign exchange reserves, bolstering confidence in the country's economic stability. These developments have helped to bolster the yuan's standing as a global currency and solidify China's position as a major economic power. In addition to its economic growth and resilience, China's efforts to promote the internationalization of its currency have been instrumental in the rise of the yuan. By expanding the use of the yuan in trade, investment, and financial transactions with other countries, China is seeking to establish the currency as a viable alternative to the US dollar and challenge the long-standing dominance of the petrodollar. The rise of the Chinese yuan as a global currency can also be attributed to China's monetary policy stance, which has been more hawkish than that of other major central banks, including the US Federal Reserve. This has led to higher interest rates in China, making it an attractive destination for capital inflows. By implementing a more conservative monetary policy, China has managed to maintain strong economic growth while also avoiding some of the risks associated with loose monetary policies, such as inflation and asset bubbles. This strategy has helped to bolster confidence in the yuan as a stable and reliable currency, further strengthening its position in the global financial landscape. In addition to China's economic policies and internationalization efforts, its exchange rate regime has played a key role in the rise of the yuan. Unlike many other countries that tightly control their currency's value, China has adopted a more flexible and market-based approach, allowing the yuan to be determined by supply and demand in the foreign exchange market. This approach has helped boost confidence in the yuan as a reliable and transparent currency, while also allowing for greater flexibility in response to changing economic conditions. However, China has also maintained some degree of intervention in the currency markets to prevent excessive volatility and protect against external shocks. This balance between market-based determination and government intervention has helped to support the yuan's rise as a global currency. China's rise as a global financial powerhouse can also be attributed to its capital account controls, which have played a critical role in supporting the value of the yuan. By limiting the outflow of funds, China has managed to reduce downward pressure on its currency while also maintaining greater control over its financial system. But what are the potential consequences and implications for economies around the world if China's yuan replaces the US dollar as the world's reserve currency? As China continues to expand its economic and financial influence, the potential consequences of this currency shift are complex and varied, depending on the direction and magnitude of the shift, as well as the economic and political context of the countries involved. The implications for economies around the world could be far-reaching. One possible effect could be a shift in the relative competitiveness of exports and imports, which could have significant impacts on trade balances, production, employment, and income levels. Another potential implication is a shift in the relative attractiveness of foreign and domestic assets. This shift could have significant effects on capital flows, investment and interest rates, and exchange rate stability around the world, as investors and businesses reassess their portfolios in light of the changing currency dynamics. We could see a reshuffling of global capital flows, with implications for everything from stock markets to real estate to commodity prices. As the yuan rises in prominence on the global stage, one potential implication is a shift in the relative purchasing power of consumers and producers. This shift could have far-reaching effects on inflation, consumption, savings, and living standards around the world. As the cost of imported goods and services changes, consumers and businesses will need to adjust their spending patterns, with implications for everything from retail sales to real estate prices. Also, as the yuan continues to challenge the US dollar's status as the world's dominant currency, one of the potential implications is a shift in the relative influence and bargaining power of countries in the global arena. This shift could have significant implications for trade negotiations, financial cooperation, geopolitical conflicts, and regional integration. As the yuan's role grows, countries may need to adjust their diplomatic and economic strategies to stay ahead of the curve. But will China's yuan ever be able to replace the US dollar as the world's reserve currency anytime soon? The world of finance and geopolitics is abuzz with news that Saudi Arabia may start pricing its oil sales in Chinese yuan, a move that could have major implications for the global currency market. While some experts see this as a step towards the yuan becoming the world's reserve currency, others are skeptical that this effort can succeed in the face of economic realities. They claim that the US dollar remains the world's reserve currency due to the perception of the overall wealth and power of the United States, which is unmatched in every aspect of value and strength. On the other hand, as China continues to assert itself as a major player in the global economy, many have wondered whether the country could one day challenge the US dollar or euro as the world's currency of choice. However, experts warn that China's lack of deep, free markets could be a significant hindrance to this effort. While China has made strides in recent years to liberalize its financial sector, its markets still lack the depth and liquidity needed to support a truly global currency. Despite China's efforts to promote the yuan as an international currency, it is still not fully convertible, and there are several restrictions on its use in certain areas. While China has made significant strides in expanding the currency's reach through international deals, the limitations on its convertibility and usage in areas such as cross-border loans and portfolio investments remain a challenge. This has prompted experts to question whether the yuan can ever truly challenge the dominance of the US dollar and the euro in the global financial system. In addition to the challenges of convertibility and usage, the lack of variety in renminbi-based investment products, coupled with the inertia of sticking with the prevailing reserve currency, are significant hurdles to the widespread acceptance of the yuan as a viable alternative to the US dollar. And that's not all. There are some other challenges and risks for the yuan. The path towards the yuan becoming a global reserve currency faces hurdles beyond just financial limitations. Questions about China's political system and governance also raise doubts about the credibility and transparency of its economic data and monetary policy. These concerns, along with the limited degree of market liberalization and financial opening, make it difficult for the yuan to gain acceptance as a true alternative to the dollar. The escalating geopolitical tensions between China, the US, and other countries may have a profound impact on the yuan's international adoption. The potential for trade disputes and economic sanctions could weaken the yuan's demand and appeal in the global market, posing a challenge to China's ambitions of establishing its currency as a global reserve currency. How China navigates these political headwinds will be critical in determining the future of the yuan as a credible alternative to the US dollar. Another risk stems from China's domestic economic imbalances and vulnerability, such as high debt levels, property market bubbles, environmental degradation, and social unrest. These issues may pose significant downside risks to China's growth prospects and financial stability, which could ultimately impact the yuan's position in the international market. The rise of the Chinese yuan is not happening in a vacuum, and other emerging market currencies are also vying for a bigger share of the global financial market. As the yuan competes for a more significant role on the international stage, other currencies like the Indian rupee, the Russian ruble, or the Brazilian real are also looking to establish themselves as players in the game. This creates a complex and dynamic environment where competition and coordination coexist, and the outcome is uncertain. Will the yuan outshine the US dollar and become the dominant currency? Or will other emerging market currencies steal the show? The answer is not clear, but the race is on. Let's know what you think in the comment section below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay up to date on the latest news about what's happening in the world today. Thanks for watching.